You know, them folks always has an issue with the celebration of Juneteenth ever since it became a federal holiday. Now, I want to play this video of this, one brother actually interviewing one of them. And I want to get into why they really take an issue with Juneteenth.
You're a Democrat or Republican?
I'm Republican.
Juneteenth should not be a holiday.
No.
It shouldn't be a holiday.
No.
You don't think slaves should celebrate? You don't think that society should celebrate their free slaves?
There are so many days that we could be celebrating that we're not celebrating.
Talk to me.
Every day
I know.
Should be a day that we celebrate.
Tell me something. Tell me one that should be a federal holiday.
There are so many different.
Come on, name a couple. Just a couple.
I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like the pressure. I don't like the pressure.
What's pressure? All right. I don't want my children dating blacks.
No.
You don't think that's racist?
No.
Okay. Black women are hard to deal with in customer service.
Sometimes.
Okay. Black culture is toxic.
No.
Blacks need to stop abandoning their women.
Yes.
Think so?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right, so immigrants are changing our society for the worse.
Yeah.
That's true, okay.
Now, based on that line of questioning, because, he really set her up pretty good. He did a good job setting her up, getting her to expose herself. But let's get to the Juneteenth. Why is it they have an issue with Juneteenth? We've heard them have multiple arguments with that. They'll say, well, why we have two separate holidays? Well, let's go with that. July 4th, 1776, you put my ancestors right back on the plantation after they just finished helping you get free from the British. So why should we celebrate as independence when we were slaves? Why should we celebrate your independence when it wasn't ours? We both could celebrate July 4th, 1776 if we were freed. Then it'll be a great celebration with us together. But that's not what you did. You double-crossed black people. Now, you go to June 19th, 1865, that is our emancipation, right? From you. That's our emancipation. So we celebrate that. We've been celebrating Juneteenth ever since I have been in the world, before it became a federal holiday. But you have to understand, they don't like to be reminded of what they done. They don't like to be reminded of their history. This is why they want to scrub books. They want to ban books because they do not want to be reminded constantly. But when Juneteenth became a federal holiday, even though people say, oh, that's a symbolism. Yes, in one instance, but for them, it's still an eyesore. And it's like she said, when he asked her about, okay, if you don't think it should be a federal holiday, which ones you think should be in its place? She couldn't answer. Just like all of them, they can't answer. He said, oh, you're so much pressure. Pressure meaning I just exposed my racism. You got me in real time. I can't even name anything. And I'm really looking bad with what I'm saying. So now it's pressure. It's pressure. No, it's not pressure. If you don't think it should be a federal holiday, then say which ones. I mean, what would you want to be a federal holiday? January 6th? I mean, would that be a good holiday for you? I mean, I would have came up with some holidays for her. I would have came up with all kinds and see if she would agree with that. But they don't like to be reminded of what they have done to us in the past. They don't like to be reminded what they've done to us, during the time of Jim Crow. They don't want to know anything about their history. They want to say, why don't you guys let it go already? Why are y'all still talking about it? They say that not because they feel like, okay, we've changed. We're not the same anymore. No. They do not want to be reminded of what they have done, because when they confront that, they know that is the sin that hovers over their head. And they know they have never made that right. They know they have not paid reparations in the form of cash payments. And you even look at the civil rights movement. When they did desegregation and all of that didn't cost them anything. Dr. King had mentioned that how it didn't cost them a freaking thing. But when Dr. King said, when we go into Washington, we come to get our check, that cost them something. You understand? And they have not paid a cost for any ill they have done to us. But they are paying a cost in another sense. It'll be easier for them to cut the check for Black America and pay our reparations than the other costs they're dealing with. It would be so much easier to do that. But yet they're no different than Pharaoh from the Bible, that, they say, well, Pharaoh hardened his heart more against the children of Israel, right? And that's really how they are. They have hardened their heart more against the children of the Lord here in America. They don't want to make nothing right. They don't want to do what's right toward Black Americans. They fight against anything that comes with reparations. They fight against the anti-Black hate crime bill. But shoot, they so bad that they don't even want to give poor white people anything. They don't care about them either. You understand what I'm saying? So they got their own problems. But one thing about people that have those views, when you expose them in real time, they don't like it. They don't like being exposed, but they hold. My thing is this: if you hold those views, stand on it. It's very easy to answer a question on the camera about how you feel. Now, how she feel about, Black folks being with them, hey, I ain't got nothing to say about that. And the reason why I ain't got nothing to say about that is because we do not win a prize by being with them. Okay? So I ain't got an issue with none of that she's saying at all. We have more trouble when we deal with them in this country. It's just the truth. We have way more trouble. And the trouble is not even worth it, just to be honest. Now, here's the issue. When they try to tell you things, keep bringing up their past. Because their past is who they are, and every time you mention the past, they feel the weight of sin, because that's what it is. They know what they have done to us. They have fed our babies to alligators. They have sat there and literally skinned us alive and used our parts for grease, okay? They've used our skin for leather, literally. They were eating Black people. Yes, just look it up. I mean, this are things they don't want to discuss any of it. They don't want to teach it. They don't want nothing, because they are solely embarrassed by it, and their weight of sin is still upon them. And that sin will continue to weigh down each generation more and more and more till you make it right. That's why we got to know our history. That's why we got to teach our history to our children. If some people say, well, why you want them to know about the trauma and all of that happened to Black people? Because never forget. Because if you forget, it will happen again. You will sit up here and be back in the same situation. No, you never forget. You always teach your history of your people to your community. You don't have them be oblivious. Like some of the brothers and sisters in South Africa, some of them are oblivious to the history of apartheid. And it amazes me when I talk to them and they're oblivious to it. I'm like, how do you be oblivious to apartheid and you don't know the ins and outs of it when Black South Africans suffered? They suffered in that country. And to have the new generation not know much about it, and they explain to me it's not really taught in school. Well, it's not taught in school because they don't push it like that, because the white folks got involved from what I was told. And it's like, oh, we need to get past that. We don't need to be discussing that. No, you have to discuss it or you'll be right back in apartheid again. That's the way that works. You always discuss your history. You share your history with your children, your grandchildren, so they know what's up. Because people like that lady, if she's just on the street talking like that, that's not a problem. But people with her attitude is in Congress. People with her attitude is president. People with her attitude is your bankers, your police, district attorneys, judges have her same attitude. So yes, that mindset's a problem. If they wasn't in none of those positions, I'm like, I don't care what she has to say. But unfortunately for now, they're still in those positions. So we got to expose it, call it out, and make sure those people aren't in any position of power that can harm Black people. But the racism that comes off like that, it's called. I told you, it's in the household. It's taught in the household. It's not taught in high school. It's not taught in middle school or elementary school, pre-K. It's not taught there. It's taught in the house. And they've made it a culture at this point. It is a culture. And we got to definitely make sure that we always on guard and paying attention when they talking like that. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I get where she's coming from because I understand her culture. So nothing she's saying is shocking me. But no, we're going to celebrate Juneteenth. We're going to make sure Juneteenth is always popping every year. Because you need to be reminded of what you've done to us. We're going to have our Juneteenth parades, Miss Juneteenth, and everything else to go along with it. Juneteenth scholarships. We're going to do it all, baby, in the name of Juneteenth. Just because y'all don't like it, we got to go hard in the paint for Juneteenth next year. You better believe that. But, let me know what you think about this woman here. Just understand Juneteenth. Listen, if something bothers them that much, that makes me want to go 1,000% harder on something just because they don't like it. So Juneteenth 2026, we need to make that real big.